Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Claude White, and yes, it is time once again for NFL picks, this time for a week 8 in 2019. It is amazing how quickly we've gotten to week 8 of the NFL season. As you know, the NBA season just started out this past Tuesday, and as you see, both New York teams didn't do so well. But anyway, enough about that. We're going on to football in these picks. And I will start with tonight's game where the Washington Redskins take on the Minnesota Vikings. The Redskins are one of the 5 worst teams in all of pro football. I don't see them getting better against Minnesota at home. Probably Colt McCoy will probably be the quarterback. He's not any good. Adrian Peterson, if this were like 5 years ago, this would be a must-watch game, but it's not. The Redskins are banged up, messed up. I mean, that franchise is a joke. I know that Kirk Cousins is a C-minus quarterback, but he's going to look good here because the Redskins can't do anything good, trust me. The one decent player they have is Landon Collins, and he's been mediocre, and that's mainly because the Redskins have no front seven to speak of. So I can't even blame Landon Collins. But I tell you what, the Redskins are. I'm picking the Vikings mainly because the Redskins are that bad. Not so much that the Vikings are that good, even though they have a very good defense. And Dalvin Cook is definitely one of the top 5 running backs in this league. Adam Thielen is out, so Diggs should see more targets. So that should make him happy. It would be nice if they put Rudolph in there, have him catch more passes if you are the Minnesota Vikings and Kirk Cousins. Listen, Kirk Cousins, if he loses this game, he should not be allowed back in Minnesota. I'm going to go with the Vikings 31-17 over the Washington Redskins. The next game, the New York Giants travel to Detroit to take on the Lions. The Lions have lost about a couple in a row. The Giants lost a game they should have won last week against an inferior Arizona team. It's funny, Daniel Jones started out pretty damn good. Well, you know what? After a while, you see who they really are, or in the immortal words of the late great Denny Green, and you remember that when he coached the Arizona Cardinals that season and he lost to the Chicago Bears, and he said, they were who we thought they were. Well, Daniel Jones is exactly who I thought he was. Now, he's not a terrible quarterback, but there's no way he should have been in the top 10 as far as picks. And he certainly should not have been the first quarterback picked in the draft. That's an absolute joke. I'm sorry. I mean, is he pretty accurate from about short to mid-range? Yeah, he is. But to me, he doesn't have the arm strength. His offensive line has actually played pretty decent. And I tell you what, he fumbles the ball almost as alarmingly as Eli Manning does. That's a bad sign, especially when you are the more fleet of foot of quarterback and more elusive of quarterback. There is no way he should be fumbling the ball as much as he has. And with Saquon Barkley there, I don't understand why the Giants don't run it at least 25 times. I don't. To me, he's going to be the best player on the field, but Matthew Stafford is by far the better quarterback. Kerryon Johnson goes on IR. Listen, this is a winnable game for the Giants, but I'm not picking them on the road against Detroit, who really needs this game. And to me, Detroit has a much better defense than the Giants do. And I'm going to go with the Lions in this game, 30-24. The next game on the docket is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Tennessee Titans. Marcus Mariota is impossible to figure out. The problem is Jameis Winston is almost as perplexing. Jameis Winston threw away a football game that was theirs for the taking. But I know one thing, the Tampa Bay defense doesn't help him any. I have to be fair with that. Now, Teddy Bridgewater threw 4 touchdown passes. Teddy Bridgewater is a pretty good quarterback. He is not a 4-touchdown type quarterback. He's not. But the Tampa Bay defense keeps everybody in the game. Now, they could keep Marcus Mariota in there too, but he's too inconsistent to make the throws that Teddy Bridgewater makes. Now, he has a better running back in Derrick Henry. But Tampa Bay has a much better offensive team. Their defense is atrocious. The Titans have a pretty good defense. Their offense is atrocious. Should I pick the Titans at home? Probably. Am I going to pick the Titans at home? No. I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Bucks, 27-24 over the Titans. Next up, the LA Chargers face the Chicago Bears at home. The Bears look dreadful, and I'm putting that very mildly. There is no way they should have played that bad. Mitch Trubisky has no business on the football field. It's as simple as that. He is that bad. He is that lousy. He is that inaccurate. Whatever you can say bad about Mitchell Trubisky, go ahead and say it. He's that bad, if not worse. Now, I understand that the running back by... Look, Tariq Cohen is not a guy that you hand the ball off to 20-plus times. Their other running back is decent, not great. They have a mediocre offensive line. I get it. But one of the so-called strengths of Trubisky was supposed to be his being able to throw the ball on the run. And they've designed many a rollout for this guy. But he cannot throw the ball past 5 yards. He's dreadful. I mean, he can run the ball pretty decent, but he's your quarterback. He should be completing balls down the field, especially in Soldier Field, where the weather, now luckily the weather's not been bad yet, but he should have a weatherproof arm. It might be weatherproof, but it's not accurate. Now, you can't say that about Phillip Rivers. He is a very accurate quarterback. Now, this team has been as snake bit could be. Melvin Gordon touches the ball for the first time, fumbles it, and they turn around and lose the game. Melvin Gordon will probably get about 20-plus carries this time around. Conventional wisdom would have me pick the Chargers here, but they play funny on the road. It's a 1 o'clock game, and I think there's going to be a quick hook on Mitch Trubisky. If Trubisky plays horribly, I could see Chase Daniel coming back there to save the day for the Chicago Bears. And for that reason, and plus they have Khalil Mack, and for those two reasons alone, I'm going to pick the Bears to bounce back 23-20 over the LA Chargers. Next up, we have the Seattle Seahawks, another team that lost a dreadful game last week, going up against the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are right there with Tampa Bay in having some of the worst defense in all of pro football. Matt Ryan, I understand that his numbers look pretty decent. In a big spot, I can't trust him as far as I can throw him. You know that defense is going to give up a ton of points. Seattle lost a bad game last week to Baltimore at home. I do believe that Seattle is going to get its revenge on the road against the Falcons. I like Russell Wilson much better than I like Matt Ryan. I like that defense. Jadeveon Clowney has played exceptionally well. I like Bobby Wagner. I like the Seahawks so much better than the Falcons. 30-24, I'm going to give them Seattle over Atlanta in that game. The next game up, the New York Jets take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jets looked about as bad as you can look. I understand the Patriots are a wonderful team. I get it. But when your so-called franchise quarterback is talking about, I saw a ghost. I mean, he sounds about as dreadful as Mark Sanchez did when he was with the Jets. I'll tell you what, I can guarantee you that the Jets will stay away from USC quarterbacks. I can guarantee you that. He has not progressed the way that everybody thought he would. Le'Veon Bell, I don't even know what's going on with him. And I tell you what, Le'Veon Bell's one of those guys, when it's going good, he's wonderful. When it's going as bad as the Jets have gone, listen, he's going to start chirping, and he's going to be a nightmare in that locker room. I can guarantee that. Now, do I expect him to play better against the Jaguars? Yes, I do. Now, the thing is, Jacksonville lost a rough one last week. But I tell you what, that quarterback looks better than Sam Darnold. That team is more together than the Jets team right now. And they're at home. I'm going with the Jaguars 31-17 over the Jets. The next game, the Philadelphia Eagles, another team that looked dreadful when they had to show up against Dallas. They traveled to Buffalo to take on the Bills. The Bills are a no-nonsense team. Josh Allen is not the greatest of quarterback, but he's a tough quarterback. Carson Wentz, I tell you what, Nick Foles had much more respect in that locker room than he does. They go more all out. They used to go more all out for Nick Foles than they do for this kid. And it's sad because he has all the ability in the world. Now, that Eagle offense has not performed to the level it's supposed to have. But that Eagle defense is worse. I mean, I haven't heard Fletcher Cox's name all season. I haven't. He has not been the same player. Malcolm Jenkins is just about shot. But should they have enough to beat the Bills? Yes. The Bills are not a very good offensive team. They're a very good defensive team, but their offense is just not good enough. I know that Buffalo's at home, and they played pretty well at home. I have to take the Eagles here. Desperation has to kick in. I tell you what, they keep losing these games. I mean, I know he won a Super Bowl a couple of years back. Doug Peterson looks bad right now. He could lose his job. I tell you what, Eagles finish 6-10, 5-11. That guy's out of a job, I'm telling you. You can put that on the books. But I'm going Eagles here, 21-13 over the Buffalo Bills. Next up, I'm going to go to the Los Angeles Coliseum, where the Rams take on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are definitely one of the three worst teams in all of football. Andy Dalton's their quarterback. No way I'm picking the Bengals. I'm not even going to fake it. I'm not going to go through why the Bengals are going to win and all this other garbage, because they're not going to win. LA Rams 34, Bengals 17. I mean, let's face it. Jalen Ramsey might get his first pick because Andy Dalton is that bad. AJ Green might never play another game with them. That team is reeling and reeling bad. Next up, the Arizona Cardinals go to New Orleans to take on the Saints. Drew Brees has started practicing. I don't know if he'll start this upcoming Sunday. I don't know if you want to upset the apple cart right now. Let Teddy Bridgewater play this game. Make sure that Brees is 100%. Do they need Alvin Kamara this game? Probably not. Latavius Murray is more than good enough to beat the Arizona Cardinals in that dreadful defense. Kyler Murray is pretty decent, but again, that offensive line stinks. When you add the New Orleans defensive front has been very, very disruptive. I have to go with the Saints here, 30-14 over the Arizona Cardinals. The Denver Broncos travel to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. I like Jacoby Brissett over Joe Flacco. Then when you take away Emmanuel Sanders from that offense, which was already bad, they went from bad to worse. I know Denver won last week. I don't see them going to Indianapolis and beating the Colts. I don't. Colts are a much better, well-rounded team. I like them 24-13 over the Denver Broncos. Next up could be the game of the week. The San Francisco 49ers at home against the Carolina Panthers. Carolina has played exceptionally well. That quarterback, Kyle Allen, listen, if you are the Chicago Bears, you might think about making a trade for Cam Newton. Listen, Trubisky's that bad. Cam Newton might have lost his job over there. You know he's an upgrade from Trubisky. And Cam can give you, I believe, at least 5 good years, which is what you need, especially when you have Khalil Mack in your prime. You don't want to lose that window of opportunity that the Bears could have. Because let's face it, Aaron Rodgers is getting old. Matt Stafford is on the wrong end of 30. I understand that Cam is too. But listen, in that division, when you look at those quarterbacks, Cam would only be behind, in my opinion, Aaron Rodgers. He's better than Matt Stafford. He's damn sure better than Mitch Trubisky. So if I were the Bears, I would go make a trade for him. You've got nothing to lose. You've screwed up the quarterback position forever. So what? Might as well get Cam Newton. But I digress. Now the 49er quarterback Garoppolo is being matched well by that running back and that offensive line. They have gone back to what got them in the Super Bowl the last time, where they punished you with the running game, did a lot of play action. Now, back then, you had Colin Kaepernick that could throw the deep ball, Now, Jimmy Garoppolo's a different animal. He likes to dink and dunk a lot, and they move him around almost as much, but he throws a lot of those short passes. I'm not sold on Garoppolo myself. I am sold on that 49er defense, though. That 49er defense is a beast. I do believe they have enough to beat Kyle Allen and the Panthers at home. I'm going with the 49ers 28-24 in that game. Next up, the Oakland Raiders travel to Houston to take on the Texans. The Raiders have played shockingly well, in my opinion. Do I see them going into Houston and beating Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt, and those guys? No. DeAndre Hopkins, Fuller, Duke Johnson, and the defensive side of football, the Texans are just too much for the Raiders right now. The Raiders are going to keep it a little bit close, but I like the Oakland Raiders to lose this game to the Texans by a score of 27-20. Next up, the Cleveland Browns travel to New England to take on the Patriots. We saw the Patriots beat up the Jets. Now, Baker Mayfield, who has been a joke quarterback, he is probably the most overrated quarterback in all of pro football. Listen, if I'm the Cleveland Browns, Nick Chubb better touch the ball 20-plus times. That is the only way they have winning. I know Odell Beckham's going to get really upset after a while. Look at the way Cleveland has played. Look at that coach. That coach is a clown, too. Listen, he's a not ready for prime time coach. They should have gotten a veteran leader, a real winning coach, but they did not do that. We know the Patriots are the most solid team in all of pro football, especially on the defensive end. I expect the Patriots to beat up the Browns 30-13. The Sunday night game has the Kansas City Chiefs at home against the Packers. I'm not sure if Patrick Mahomes, as of this live stream, will play or not. If not, it will be Matt Moore, who is a very competent backup. The Chiefs, do they have enough weapons? They do. I can't take Matt Moore over Aaron Rodgers. I can't do it. Pat Mahomes, I would pick over Aaron Rodgers. But even then, I don't trust that Chiefs defense. I trust the Packers defense a hell of a lot more than the Chiefs defense. And for that reason, I have the Packers winning in a shootout, even though they'll be in KC. I have Packers 34, Chiefs 27. And the Monday night game, the Miami Dolphins, who have been the worst team in pro football, go up against the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. Mason Rudolph should be back at quarterback. Listen, I don't care who was quarterback. You could have dug up Cordell Stewart. The Steelers have beaten the Miami Dolphins. That Dolphin team might have quit on that coach, let me tell you. That team is dreadful. Ryan Fitzpatrick is dreadful. Offensive line stinks. Defense quit. I tell you what, Mike Tomlin loses this game, man, you can imagine what my Steeler report is going to look like if Mike Tomlin loses this game to the Miami Dolphins at home. That would be unforgivable. I don't see it happening. I love the Steelers here, 34-17 over the Dolphins. And those are my NFL picks for Week 8 in 2019. Please like, share, and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Claude White. Take care, and God bless.